Okay, so the project name is Decentralized Credential Verification System. It is a verification system for individual specific credentials or identifications. Credentials can be an individual identification document like licenses or ID cards, academic career credentials like career certificates or academic certificates, financial and medical certifications, etc. And participants can be there are three sorts of participants in the system, and they are a credential holder, a credential issuer, and the credential verifier. And in this case, the credential verifier works as the admin body as well, much like in the MakerDAO system. This is the initial technical model of the project. This is like credential issuer issues a credential for the credential holder, who at first has to register their identifier in the registry. Credential issuer also falls under that, and the credential holder will send their credentials to the credential verifier to verify it, and once it's verified, the verifier dispatches it to a registry where it is sent to the metadata is sent to the blockchain and stored securely. And the credential issuer can also review the verified credential to see if there is anything wrong. It's only a read-only access. So what are the obligations required? So for credential issuers, they are required to issue verifiable documents, and an issuer can be an academic institution like schools or universities, or corporations or businesses, hospitals, or even central governments. The trust problem is that the issuers might issue a document that is inaccurate or faulty. Why don't traditional methods solve this problem? So the issuer entities may sometimes have external catalysts like a corrupt people that prompt them to issue invalid documents or alter a document details of a crucial document. And an immutable ledger can store the states and metadata of the document to ensure further security of the details. An extensive initiation process through background verification should be performed before enlisting an issuer by the admin body, who are of course part of the network. This increases the interdependency. The issue can be incentivized. Issuers can be incentivized with tokens to remain honest, like similarly, and penalized for the opposite. For the verifiers, who also work as the governing body in the system, they are required to be impartial in following the protocol. Because the admin body is such a crucial part of the system, their number needs to be extremely limited, and their impartiality is crucial for the system to work. But there can always be a bad actor, a black sheep that tries to break the system. For verifiers, like central governments, and traditionally there is little accountability, and that creates more opportunities to break the system. A ledger can add security if the admin body and their roles are saved in a ledger for broader transparency. Like all the participants in the system can have access to that information, but it cannot be the real details, like not the real names or addresses. So, and there can be a steep penalty with a different sort of tokens, like the governing tokens, like in MakerDAO, and they are valued higher, and the members can be ranked with the same tokens for yearly and monthly rewards. So this all falls under the where can a token align incentives. Sorry. The credential holders are required to not lie about their identity. They're required to be honest about it. So someone may try to impersonate them and attain their certifications. And traditionally, the security questions, and password changes do not provide adequate verification, because if someone knows enough about you, they can easily answer those questions or change the password or guess your password. Where can an add ledger? A ledger can add ingenuity about the holders' identities in the first place. The system can be designed to have timely checks on on the user's identification so that it can throw flags if something comes up wrong. And the credential holders are required should be required to deposit registration some token deposit during the registration. The deposit would go down with each flag, and minimal increments would happen to the would be in the deposit would be incremented minimally if they can complete requests. Like one, if they complete one request, they have like minimal increment in their system. But this doesn't have a lot of economic value. So the key obligations are what key obligations are required to be met among the stakeholders. An individual's records must belong to themselves and no one else. An individual must be truthful when disclosing their own identity and not impersonate someone else. Application of smart contracts can verify the integrity and truthfulness of a credential holder. A token deposit during registration, token rewards or penalties which have non-economic brand value. These are the mechanisms we can use to make sure that the holder is being truthful. These individual brand values can be stored on a ledger for better transparency. So number two is the tokens issued based on performance, and number one and three are third-party confirmation of performance. An admin body then comes the admin body. The admin body, in this case, the verifiers must follow due process while verifying a holder's claim and credentials. The mechanisms used are the admin body would have special governing tokens to incentivize honesty and discourage any attempts to cheat the system. Members of an admin body must maintain on-chain transparency about each other and every decision they reach, i.e., on a ledger. Thirdly, as ranking system with the governing tokens will incentivize truthfulness even more among the admin body. And next, the issuer of a record must be able to review the dispatch record and throw flags if something is wrong. So number one and three are tokens issued based on performance. Number two is a multi-user confirmation of performance. About and number 3 and 4 ranking system for verifiers and a review system by the issuer are different other mechanisms. Now coming to the issuers, the records of the that have been issued to an individual, they must be verified or valid or verifiable, and then all entities must participate as a node in the system, and an issuer entity must meet the specified prerequisite that ensure their authenticity. So while this is still talking about the registration process of the issuers and the holder identity entities, metadata about the record should be stored on a ledger, so there is immutability and it can be tampered with. Credential issuers can be rewarded or penalized with tokens, and a ranking system among the issuers also pertaining to brand value can be adopted. So number 3 is the tokens issue based performance. Number 2 is multi-user confirmation of performance, and number 1 and 4 are specialized registration and ranking system or some other mechanism. The ranking system is a different mechanism for because it is not although there are tokens, but they are not used in an economic manner. This is an extra slide for just to explain how the ranking system would work. So for issuers and holders, earning tokens would be enhancing their brands. The more tokens an entity has, the more your brand value is. These tokens cannot be monetized, rather it will be used to rank participants. It can initially incentivize various central institutions to join the network because assuming that these tokens increase brand value, and each of these institutions would all try for larger brand value, if you will. And for verifiers, it could work like this. When a verifier accumulates 2000 tokens, that meaning that they have successfully completed at least 2000 transactions or claims, assuming a 1-to-1 ratio. Like in a video game, they can exchange their tokens on a tally system. For a tally system where you can apply for a raise, as it only makes sense if you gain more expertise in a field, you should be paid more as well. Or they can trade their tokens on a decentralized exchange at the running rate only after it has been legally accepted to have an exchange value. So the storage, verifications, issuance, and retrieval of records are to be done through smart contract transactions, and the keys given to each identity would play crucial roles for maintaining secrecy of the records. The idea of a full-scale credential system and verification system is dependent on the application of decentralized identity. It makes good on the promise that your data is yours only, and self-sovereign identity implies just that. I would use a private blockchain for initial implementation, considering the sensitivity of the data and the process of required verification. However, with wider adoption, for global reach, and for scaling up the system, a hybrid public chain can be adopted, where the governing body of the system functions on the permission chain and the metadata is stored on a public chain to enforce higher transparency and honesty. These are the references I used for my project. That's all. Thank you.